So giving an example of United States is not good for Pakistan, which needs the foreign investment badly. What would you say about that?
I'm not sure whether we need foreign investment badly. I think your real strength comes from your domestic investment. Look at the economy of India. As I said, I've just come back from India. I looked at the Indian investment. Massive investment is taking place, but it's all taking place by Indians. There is a foreign component, but that foreign component is like bringing in some advanced technology which adds on to their investment. Or investment where the foreign investor guarantees buying certain products for exports. So India actually benefits from that. The kind of foreign investment we get is McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's. As there was a BJP agenda which I liked very much. We want computer chips, not potato chips. And I think that should be our slogan.
The Bangladesh issue, इधर हम इधर तुम आपने अभी कहा तो उनका कहना है कि 1956 से start हुआ. So is it true?
Well, certainly, you know, countries don't break up overnight just because there is dispute on one issue. A lot of things have been happening from day one which drifted the two wings apart. We know what happened in 1971, who played what part and how the military treated the Bangladeshis when the crackdown took place. So you can't say that the Bangladesh crisis started in 1971. Of course, it started much before.
This is Bilal from BBA 2A. Is there any chance we'll be seeing you in the Pakistan government? Future? Is there any chance we'll be seeing you in the Pakistan government?
I don't think there's any threat of that.
Or you might be the future finance minister or something of that sort.
No threat of that either.
That's all. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Sir, despite not getting the privilege of attending the seminar as a whole, I, as an advocate and as an assistant manager of a foreign bank, would like to ask all of you that why don't we follow, we as the citizens and we as the rulers and the countrymen follow the legacy of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto in economic sector, in nuclear sector, in education sector, and land reforms. Why have we not been successful in 58 or 60 odd years to dichotomize the trichotomy of judiciary, legislatures, and executive? Why have we failed as a nation to raise our voice against the military dictatorship? Why? Why do we always talk about democracy? How can we bring a democracy at the grassroots level when we'll have dictators and the generals at top? How can we produce a real leadership? So that the leadership and the democracy has to be associated with economic reforms and the true democracy from the grassroots level of the citizen of Pakistan.
Yeah, I'm saying that these are questions that all of us have to answer, but I'm telling my People's Party friends that the original slogan of Roti Kapra Makan should be brought back and put on the top of the table.
Some days back, an article was published in Dawn by Awed Barki about inequality in Pakistan. So, did you give him any response about the figures he gave in that article? Number one. Number two, you publish these figures in press or some in sort of publication. And what are your ideas about the privatization of education? These private educations means universities, have they created disparity and inequality between poor and rich? These are my questions.
Yeah, Social Policy Development Center published a 236-page book documenting inequality at various levels and of various types. And what Javed Barki is actually producing is a rehash of that. So I don't need to respond. He has responded to us by publishing our work. And your second question is? Well, the private sector universities have filled a gap. And if there are failures, the failures belong to the state, not to private universities. It is the responsibility of the state to ensure that education is provided. Private sector has come in to fill a gap, and private sectors have to survive on their own revenues. So they will only fill that gap where they can survive. They will not fill the gap where they don't survive. But the responsibility lies with the state.
I'm Dr. Sulemanchi from SZABIST. My question is not a question really, but an observation that during the 70s period, when Shahid Bhutto was reigning this country, actually the first thing was the crisis management. The country was in a crisis. And as I remember, as a young man, going through the streets of this country, that there was an acute depression, psychological depression in the people of Pakistan, because we lost one half of our country and our economy, and there was nothing to go about. We had no reserves, you know very well. And at that time, I think nationalization, one of the reasons of nationalization, which I think, I do not know, I want your view upon that. It was the necessity at that particular moment of history that we should go for nationalization and the land reforms.
Well, you know, this work that I presented to you was a product of exactly similar questions. The question that when I was looking at the data for all of Pakistan's period, including the pre-71 period, I realized that after 1971, when the economies, all the economic wires had been cut, our main source of foreign exchange, jute, was lost. Our main rice market was lost. We had to import matchsticks from Sweden. We had to import tea from Kenya, and so on and so forth. Why is it that all the economic indicators, or at least most of the major economic indicators, don't show a dip? Why is it that the West Pakistan economy did not sink into a crisis immediately post-71? And after the first year, in 1973, our exports began to surge, reserves developed, and I think this credit has to go to the economic management. And I will not say nationalizing level of public sector investment, of which nationalization is a part. That was responsible. We are in a similar crisis today, and this is exactly what we need to do. We need to recreate PIDC. We need to give the state back its role, because the private sector is not investing. There is no private sector investment taking place. The construction. And this is what we need to do. We need to learn from our history, and we need to learn especially from Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's period.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bangali. And please hold your applause before we thank you on behalf of SZABIST through a token. A former student would also like to thank you. Nahid, please.